Hey, family, and welcome to the Critical Sense Making Sessions facilitated by yours truly, Revolutionary Rika. Today is episode 29. Today's topic is trauma. Today's guest is one of my favorite people, Ashley Bell. She is a Bay Area native. She is passionate about personal growth, being confident in her own judgment and decisions, and helping and uplifting others. Ashley, tell us a little bit more about who you are and choose one word to describe how you're showing up.
Hey. So yes, my name is Ashley. I am a Bay native. I come from, a background of growing up in poverty. And so I have that experience and what leads into my topic of trauma. So one word to describe how I'm showing up today is just being my authentic self, being fresh, vulnerable, and honest with myself and my viewers. So
Right. Well, awesome. Thank you so much, Ashley, for agreeing to participate in the critical sense making sessions. And I'm going to just get us right into our icebreaker question. What would you name the soundtrack of your life right now?
ooh, I would say the song that I would use is Kurt Franklin's "Smile." That's been on my iTunes repeat.
Mhm.
Just saying like we've been through a lot, but at the end of the day, smile. God's always gonna have us, and we got God, we got each other, and just keep striving. So I definitely
That's
would say smile.
awesome. I love that. And
Yeah,
that's one of my
yeah,
favorite songs too. So definitely
yep.
keep smiling. So I'm going to push us right into our first set of questions. And I would love for you to start telling us a little bit about life growing up in the East Bay and Hayward and, just your childhood.
Okay. So yeah, like I said before, grew up in Hayward, Bay native, all over Hayward my entire life. And so like my childhood, I would say, how can I describe it is, when someone grows up and they say, yeah, I remember living here my entire life and blah, blah, blah. For my case, yeah, I grew up in Hayward, but there was never a place that I can call home growing up. And so I wish I had that experience where I can say, yeah, this is where I grew up. This was my home. There was no one place for that. Um, so that's pretty much my experience. And where I grew up in my childhood. So I wish there was like that one place where I can just call home, but I never
Absolutely.
had that experience.
So looking for stability, some
Yeah,
stable.
definitely stability. Yeah, stability.
Okay. All right. Thank you for being honest about that. And so thinking back on your childhood, what challenges did you face?
Definitely. So some challenges I faced, I would say growing up in poverty, being exposed to drugs, violence, weapons, abuse. And that was just something I never wanted to live in. I knew it wasn't right. And so I kind of wanted to just go in a different direction. I knew that I didn't want to repeat that cycle that my family, has gone through. And so I was like, this is not my plan. This is not my path that God has for me.
Absolutely. I love that. Thank you. Thank you for just finding your voice even in the midst of all of that, knowing that
Yeah,
is not where I'm going to stay. Hmm.
definitely.
So, how did you respond to these challenges? I know you just said, this is not my place. This is not for me.
Mhm.
I'm going to change that. But what are other ways that you are responding?
Just being a free spirit. Just going as I can. There's no limitations to life. But I knew whatever I was gonna do, I was gonna make the best of it, and it was gonna be on the path, not the going backwards and doing the same things that my parents lived. So as far as like being exposed to drugs, selling drugs, doing drugs, violence, none of that stuff I wanted to live. I wanted a healthy life.
Yes.
Um, so some of the things that I had to do in order to make that shift, and this is going back to my trauma, my generational trauma, childhood trauma, reoccurring trauma, is getting help, seeking therapy. I'm 31 now, and and I'm happy. I have people asking me about it, and I think it's great. It's working. It's one step at a time, and I couldn't be any more happier. So those are
Awesome.
some of the changes I made.
Those are remarkable changes. I think that's
Hmm.
awesome, especially when you are many times when you're surrounded by certain behaviors all of your life, and there's
Yeah.
really no one there to show you another way. I think that's like remarkable that you were able to, you know, to make the changes you were and to make just the progress and the success that you've had is
Hmm.
amazing. So absolutely. And so I know you talked about God, so I just want to kind of have you reiterate a little bit about that. What gave you hope?
So I'm just gonna put it out there. I'm not religious. I just have my spiritual connection with God and an understanding with Him. So what gave me hope is just knowing that if I were to give up, I would be backtracking and all the work that the progress that I made. So there was always something to look forward to, if that makes sense. So that was my hope. So if I knew that I needed to seek out for help, that was my hope that things are going to get better one step at a time. And I think having a good support system is
Absolutely.
definitely one. My circle I'm close with, and they always had my back. And so that's my hope right there, and knowing that I'm not alone.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, Ashley. I'm going to move us into our second set of questions. And so, first, I would love for you to define the terms that you used a little while ago: generational trauma, childhood trauma, and reoccurring trauma.
Oh, definitely, definitely. So we all know generational trauma is, it's something that's going from generation to generation that's being handed on. So we starting from our great grandparents, our grandparents, our parents, and then us. So some of these things are being handed down to us, are harmful behaviors. Psychological and physical abuse can be one, which is also, it can be impacting our home. So, say I have a household and some of those traumas are coming back. And if I'm not getting that help, it's just going to be reoccurring.
Mm.
So some emotions that are unresolved, we gotta figure out so we can stop the pattern.
Yes,
So yeah,
yes.
definitely.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, because a lot of times I think viewers know what trauma is. They don't realize a lot of times that they can pass that on, not only
Yeah,
getting passed down to them, once
yeah,
you become parents, or even like I'm not a parent, but I work with so many
hmm,
young people over the years that a lot of my own habits I passed on to them. Hopefully they were the good
yeah,
ones, right? I don't know unless they come back and tell me, but
yeah,
definitely.
yeah. And one that always stick out for me, at least, like poor family relationships, and that can be handed on to the next generation and so on and so on. So if you can't fix that pattern, it's just gonna keep on going.
Yeah, yeah. And then you living in the same city with cousins you've never met.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
yeah, uh-huh. I
definitely.
hear. Yeah, that's an important topic. So share a little bit about the trauma you experienced and which strategies you use to manage and heal from that trauma.
I think losing my mom at a young age, at 11, that was tough, and I felt like there was like some type of abandonment. And I couldn't really bounce back from that at the time. So I would go into relationships, or I would isolate, dissociate from people, and not really talking about my feelings and what's going on. So a lot of times it was hard for me to trust folks. And they would ask, like, yeah, Ashley, what's going on? I'm like, I don't know. It was always the answer, I don't know.
Yeah,
So that was definitely one that kind of stuck with me, and I'm still, trying to figure out ways to cope with it. But I know that's just one step at a time.
yeah, absolutely. And I don't, let me see how I can phrase this, because, having been there and saw you when you took that loss and how close you and your mom were, and, you know, um, people tend to forget, like, people make things about them, not realizing that the impact on the children, as
Yeah.
a cousin or as a, extended family member or whatever you are, sometimes you make it about the loss about you, not realizing
Hmm.
what those young, like the babies need, right? Who
Yeah.
needs to
Yeah.
step up, love, and show them. So I definitely understand your position on that, and that, a lot of us were kind of young still too, but recognizing that we were old enough to know, we should have
Yeah.
stepped up a little more. And
Yeah.
so hearing you say that, it's almost like checking ourselves. Like,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah, we had a lot of stuff, poverty issues that we overcame too, but at the same time, when you know better, you do better. And so it's
Yeah.
like, how how can you be a little bit more visible in this child's life, because you know that
Right.
when the mom is like, you can lose a lot of other people, not to say not your that your dad is not important, but
Yeah. Yeah.
have mom in that nurturer role that they play, losing that
Hmm.
early on is very tough. And I feel
Yeah.
like you You soldiered that. Just seeing that from not realizing that she was 11. You know, I'll be thinking
Yeah.
y'all older than that. But
Yeah. Oh yeah, we were young.
yeah, you were
And
you soldiered through that.
yeah, and it's crazy. Honestly, I remember that entire night, and it plays back in my head all the time, and I'm just like, I can't get it out of my head, and just feeling that like someone just took a whole piece of me, and now I have to figure out how I can grow from that without having my mom here with me, even as an adult,
Yeah,
because I miss her.
I know you do. I
Yeah,
know. Yeah. Whew, that was kind of heavy. Sorry, Ashley.
yeah.
Um, so where, as you think about the struggle that you have, and you think about young people who may be coming up now, where should an individual start who is ready to acknowledge and address their trauma?
That's a tough one. If I could give some advice where to start, even if it's something just simple, just being honest with yourself, not being so hard on yourself, knowing that it's going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight. So whatever works for you, do that. So for me, taking baby steps as far as just writing a letter, write my emotions out. If I don't feel comfortable with talking with people, write it out. Or just finding someone that you are comfortable talking with. Like I said, it took me a long time to be okay with seeking therapy,
Yeah,
and letting someone else in my life and knowing my story and my history. But also feeling like, if I share too much,
yeah.
are they going to abandon me? Are they going to share my secrets? So it's just, just go at your own pace. Whatever feels right, do that.
I
There's
love
no
that advice.
better way of saying it.
I love it because last year, I'm gonna tell you, I'm 44, and I didn't
Hmm.
come to terms with my childhood trauma to 2019 because
Hmm.
it had been hidden. I had pushed it down so much that I didn't realize it was there,
Yeah.
and got triggered last year. Last year triggered
Yeah.
me and came to the surface, and let me tell you, and that wasn't even all the trauma. That was some childhood abandonment stuff, like pops
Yeah.
leaving and mom just having to work, and just a lot of different stuff. But
Hmm.
it was, like you said, it does not, you don't get over it overnight. First step
Yeah.
is just acknowledging that, oh shit, I got trauma. Excuse my language.
Yeah.
Excuse
Yeah.
my language, Auntie Vicky. My auntie be watching. She said, she said,
Yeah.
and then the second part is addressing it. And so I was going
Hmm.
back and forth with, am I really mad about this? But I had to be because what I realized is my responses to stuff or my reactions
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
would be like, nah, that stuff's still bothering you.
Yeah. You check your trauma, and something that we use in my household is between me and my partner, we'll say your trauma showing. So that's our way of communicating and saying like, hey, your trauma showing. What can we do to help you in this moment to kind of calm down? So that's always a good one, a safe word to use. But I was watching a movie the other day and it said something about if you don't face your trauma will face you. So one way or another, your trauma is going to come out. Whether it's in a conversation with someone or you're having a thought, a song, whatever, it's going to come out. And what are you going to do in that moment to prepare yourself or not?
Mm. See, I
And
think
that's a
this
tough one.
last year. I think it was this conversation last year, Ashley, so I would have knew when this stuff was happening. I'm telling you, over
Hmm.
the course of 1 week, 7 different situations triggered me, and it was about
Hmm.
this one trauma. But at first I didn't realize they were all connected until at the
Hmm.
end of that, I was able to look back and see. And even now, looking at it, I can tell. But that your trauma will speak to you, and that's what happened.
Uh-huh.
It
Uh-huh.
came to me, and at first I was angry at these people, but
Yeah.
now I'm like, no, those people were the one that helped you bring it to the surface because the
Yeah.
only
Yeah.
what they say, hurt people, but healed people heal people. So if I want to heal people, I got to heal myself first.
Yes, you do. You do. You do. Absolutely. Absolutely. So we got to practice what we preach.
Exactly. Back to the beginning. Yep. Practice what
Yeah.
we. Okay, I'm going to move us into the third set of questions. And
Okay.
the first one is, how has recurrent trauma impacted your career?
So fresh out of college, I knew I wanted to work with individuals. I didn't know what that looked like, but I knew that was what I wanted to do. I wanted to help folks. So in my current position, I'm a mental health specialist. So I'm dealing with a lot of individuals with a lot of trauma, and so I think one day I was just sitting down and I was just like, I'm trying to give support to these individuals and help them in however they can manage coping. But I'm not doing whatever work I need to do on myself. So that was a kind of like a wake up call. I was like, I got to get the help too, so I can continue to not burn out, but also helping those individuals while helping myself. But I think it is therapeutic for myself when I am helping others.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like a healing right there. So sometimes I might be meeting with a client and then something they did or said might be a reoccurring trigger for me about my trauma in my past. So I get that a lot. But if I'm not helping myself, manage that, then it's hard. It's hard if I'm not doing the necessary steps I need to take.
Yeah. And I think that's what my thing was as I work on this doctoral program and create all these. I'm trying to create a community-based organization and some other stuff. Like how if I fail to work on this thing, I'm gonna get triggered because I already know that the community look like me, have experiences like me. And
Yeah.
so I try to help them, something's gonna come up. And so to be totally transparent, my issues around abandonment was with my dad leaving like at the beginning of high school and at the time. And we going through puberty, all these other different things. And my
Yeah.
mom, and there were no more kids in the house, so it was just me. And I was struggling last year at the end I knew that I had to address it. And I didn't want to because I didn't want to make me uncomfortable. I didn't want to make him uncomfortable. So I kept saying, I'm gonna write a letter. I'm gonna write a letter. Because growing up, my dad, even though he left, he would always send me letters. He would always write letters. And he always said, the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So that was
right.
me. But I was like, okay, I'm gonna write the letter, but I'm gonna wait for the spirit to tell me to write the letter because I don't want to just be rude. And I ended up having an actual conversation with him a couple of weeks ago about it. So I never had to write the letter. And let me tell you how freeing and liberating I felt after having that conversation. He did not take it like I assumed he was going to take it. He had already been doing his own work at home and praying about some stuff in his own childhood trauma. And so when we went to talk about it, it wasn't like I didn't want him to think I was blaming him because all of this is a part of our journey, right? We have to go through that stuff to get certain tools and things that are going to help us fulfill our calling. And so when he said it, I felt so good because I didn't want him to think that I was saying this stuff out of like I hate him, I'm angry or whatever. But I'm like, no, I realized I had to go through that in order to be an independent leader and thinker and be able to really, strive in tough situations because we was young when you was 11, we was like what 18, 19, trying to figure life out, young transitional age youth. We living from pillar to post, we was having fun, but we was also, just struggling with overcoming that our fathers leaving and all these other challenges that we had.
Survival mode, and I don't want to live like that no more. Exactly. Yeah,
you just brought up some stuff for me. I needed this.
So definitely.
So what are some key takeaways you learned from experiencing? I know you talked about you're still healing from trauma, but what are some key takeaways you learned from experiencing radical healing?
So let's see. Just like I said before, just being honest with yourself, being okay with being vulnerable, figuring out ways that you can cope with your emotions, and your trauma. And so I know in our community, our Black community, seeking therapy is never was talked about because it always said that, what happens in our house stays in our house. It's not okay to be vulnerable. And so that's just something, I want to break that cycle. That I want to break that and, and try to do whatever I can to, be a better me. But just get the help you need, and don't think that, because you're seeking therapy that you're crazy or something's wrong with you. It's just, it's just breaking that whatever it is that is that I'm trying to say. That's
computer. Cat.